Jim?
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order again. Call the meeting to order, 7:09. Okay. Do we do a roll call?
All right,
Do we need to?
Jim Kuligowski,
Here.
Anne Marie Oleski,
Here.
Charles Martin, here. Tom Lewis.
Here.
John Hairley.
Here.
Tara Kenyon.
Here.
P. Kramer. Absent.
Absent to Merit.
Oh, mark that one.
I gotta move him to the absent row here.
Vanessa Jones.
Vanessa Jones.
Vanessa Jones and Mark
Absent.
Ford.
That's right, it's on the agenda, roll call.
All of our absentees, all right.
All right. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes from the last month's meeting?
Yes.
Any comments or any corrections that anyone can note or?
I
God bless Chuck.
think I may have a question. I just
Did
wanted
you
to clarify
compare your
this.
notes to Bill Connell's notes?
See that?
I didn't see your notes. Did you compare them to Bill Connell's?
No, I have no idea what Bill wrote. These are all mine and
Those are
honestly.
very good.
It took a while
Yes,
to
his are very
reconstruct
good.
it.
Oh, those are Bill's and I edited them.
I knew somebody had.
Not too much, but yeah.
So these are the minutes that,
Oh, did Bill
You
post
took care of
this? Post the draft?
you edited too?
I think so.
No, though, I didn't edit,
Kara sent them out.
Chuck's?
I did not edit Chuck's. Yeah, I only edited the open space
Alright.
ones. Yep.
Oh, okay, so
Alright.
maybe what Chuck handed me and what I got from your email are different?
Ooh, did I attach the wrong minutes to yours? Did I
No,
attach
no,
your
no, no,
minutes?
no, let's
Oh,
see.
no, I'm sorry. I sent you Chuck's minutes. I just forwarded you
Oh,
his
okay,
email.
got
So
it,
they're
got
one
it.
and the
Oh, so
same,
you-
yes.
Got it,
I'm
okay,
like, well, yeah.
alright, no, that makes sense, okay, good.
Okay.
Now, what was your question, Chuck?
I actually listened
Or
to this
comment.
several times
Okay.
about the amount of money in the open space fund. And I'm pretty sure that one officer said $15 million.
Okay, what point on this are you referring to? What letter?
This would be in financial report, item 5.
Item 5, first page.
Okay.
And my other,
Is it 15 million? Is that the question?
That was,
I think it was around 15 million.
I believe it's around 15 million, but that includes everything. So that includes all the bonds and that's everything that's in there. That's not the budget
That's the-
necessarily,
no.
but that's like
And,
everything
working
that's in
budget.
it.
Yeah, as I
Right,
noticed,
right.
that, I believe I did note that this was the budget that was presented at the meeting, or
Right.
the 2019 budget. The only other question I had was Cleo's name.
Yes, you're
I think
correct.
I got the correct, but is it Cleo spelled with an E or an I?
E, you're right. Yep, you have it right.
Okay.
You're all
Then then I'm good,
Yep.
but,
Is that the same, is that a copy of the?
oh, yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, no.
There you go. That's the same. Alright, anyone like to make a motion to accept the minutes as Chuck has
A
been written?
motion to accept the minutes from the January or February meeting.
Second?
Okay,
Okay.
motion's been made and seconded, all those in favor, say
Aye.
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 Aye, any opposed? Okay, motion
Thank you very
passes.
much.
Good job.
Yeah, let's acknowledge that job. Oh
Yeah,
my
I
gosh.
think-
Well, it's just
Fantastic.
like, it was a learning experience, to be honest with you.
Oh my God, what, by fire, okay.
Can't wait for
Right,
this
get a
month,
first
can't wait for
one.
this month's minutes. I'll be waiting for that email. Okay, public comment, let's see, we open the meeting to the public, if there is no public, I think we don't make,
I'm the
I know we
public.
made, did you have any comments?
No.
Okay, cause I know sometimes we made a motion, open, close,
Close,
and
yeah.
then no one's here,
No,
so I think we have to go to
exactly.
that.
Seeing
But again,
But seeing no one here from the public, then we close
Right.
that part of the meeting and move on.
with the caveat that if someone does
They
come
come
and they
in,
do
we
want
can
to
always
make some,
reopen.
we will open the meeting
Okay,
to
so
the
Tom, you
public.
move to
I
close
move-
the,
You
I
have a
move
second
to-
opening?
Yeah,
We don't.
Yeah,
open and close.
We usually
Very good.
don't, but, we can if we need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
right, we
Is
always
there a
say that,
motion on the
if
table?
someone happens to come in and they'd like
Motion
to say
to
something.
open and close because there's no member of the
Yes, I
public
got
here
it.
with
So
the
you made your
caveat.
motion?
I made the motion.
Okay, second, okay.
Okay,
got it, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just moving along.
I
There
understand.
you go.
all right.
All right, we have a new business here. It looks rather challenging here, Jim.
Control of invasive species at grasslands, I know nothing about that, so who's
Yes.
gonna
Who
take
put
charge
this
of
on?
that?
I did, that's
All right,
me.
Tara, okay. all right.
So a while back, actually kind of when I first started working here, I looked at the original maintenance plan that was done for the grasslands. And it was done back at a time when it was actually just referred to, it was referred to as Negri, Lenny, Napoli, there was
Yeah.
like a different name in there. And Briggstown we had just taken ownership of it, so, as you know, then from there, we started working with New Jersey Audubon, so they're updating the maintenance plan right now as we speak, they should be done in August, which is great. But while that was happening, Chris Williams, do you all know Chris Williams, or
Yes.
he's on Shade Tree Commission, right, is that what he's on?
He's on OSAC.
And OSAC, he's on OSAC and Shade Tree, very knowledgeable with grasslands, birds, and butterflies. So he had spoken to someone at a conference from Weeds Incorporated, which is a business that really looks at maintaining the native grasslands and meadows and preserved lands and things like that. So he had said, you know, can this guy that I know come out and look at it and let us know, like, what is the situation of invasive species at the grasslands? Because you hear so many different things. So we had to wait until hunting season was over, of course, because the gun hunting was going on until February 16th. So we met with him, Chuck was there, Chris Williams, myself, Cleo, the intern, and Brian from Weeds Incorporated. We went to both sites. He got there a little earlier than us and kind of looked around. And Chuck, if I miss anything, just jump in and tell me, you know, feel free. He basically said that especially Negri is really getting overrun with invasive species.
Right.
He said that, was it the knapweed there? Is that what he was referring to?
Well, there's a number of invasives, broad areas are being taken over by spotted knapweed.
Spotted knapweed,
Which is
yes.
a very common invasive here, and it can spread like wildfire because it makes millions of small seeds.
Yeah, but
And
is that
so
the one that he said it was the largest stand, he thought, or was it the cedar? Well, there was one
Well,
thing at Negri.
Actually, we only looked at one area of Negri.
Right.
What area did you look at at Negri?
What we did was we went in and parked at the
The other entrance?
the entrance which says private drive,
Yes.
which is not a private drive, until you get to the wood line there, and so on. So that allows us to look at the back end, what I call the back 40,
Right.
and front end down to the pond.
Okay.
And that area is extensively taken over by black knapweed.
Right.
Also, underneath there's a huge stand of knapweed underneath the power lines.
Oh.
And knapweed is invading into the area around the parking lot, which is actually seeded for pollinator seed mix. It's for butterflies, bees, local pollinators of various types. So it's a lot of flowering plants there. Knapweed is going in there, but what I didn't get a chance to point out, I think I talked to John Park about it. There's a huge amount of cedar that's come in there as well. They're small
Right.
seedlings, and they're very, very dense. And this is what succession does, anyway. But it, to my mind, and I'd like to get the opinions of John and Brian,
Right.
about how much problem we're gonna have with the cedars, because we lost a lot of the flowering plants already in that area.
You're
Also,
talking about the area right by the parking lot?
right by the parking
off
lot,
of-
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Off of,
Yeah.
off of Skillman's Lane.
Skillman's Lane.
Yeah.
But to the lay person that doesn't know, exactly what these plants look like, they really do blend in with the grasses very well. But people that know grasses, and Melba, to her credit, is one of the people that said, this is getting overrun. So we did have this person go and look at it. I have not presented this to OSAC yet, but being that we're here, I'll talk to you guys about it. I do have on the agenda for OSAC. We
And
got
it's
a quote.
Black knapweed?
Black
How do you
knapweed, the
spell
Well, it's
cedar.
actually, I think it's spotted knap, it's
Spotted.
knap, K-N-A-P.
Yeah.
K-N-A-P, okay.
Yeah.
Then you
just
got
wanna make sure.
mugwort is the other one.
Yeah,
Oh,
mugwort
Mugwort.
Yeah.
is
And the
invasive in
cedars.
there.
And the
So
cedar.
we
Yeah.
got a proposal from Weeds Incorporated, and what they have said is that their cost for the chemicals, the labor, and the posting of the signage would be $185 an acre. So the total of both properties is over 600 acres. However, not all of those 600 acres need to be treated.
Yeah,
So if we were to do half of it, which Chris Williams seems to think that might be a good way, especially at Negri. Cause once Brian showed me what to look for, you could stand back and really
Oh, yeah.
see like,
See it all.
wow, this is a problem. So if we did half of it, we're looking at, on the low end, 55,000 to treat both properties for the
Okay.
invasives. Now,
What was the
I
acre-
know-
what was the acreage cost again?
One
it was
185.
185 per
185.
acre. Now, I
185.
know that seems like expensive to come out of the open space. However, my opinion is, and I only advise obviously, but my opinion is that if we don't do something to take care of it, it's just gonna, eventually everything's gonna be strangled. The chemicals that he's proposed using, it's like Bullseye, Stinger, Picloram. I have all of them if you wanna see them, he sent a dozen
Yeah.
files over, but what he is proposing is the application of chemicals that are not really threatening to wildlife, you know, rodents and rabbits and all those kind of things. And also that they will not kill the native grasses, so it's not gonna be this, you know, we've been
Yeah.
spot treating, but you can only spot treat so much, so we really do need, and if it's not this year, it's sometime in the future, we need to look at some kind of plan for that. And then the last thing I'll say is that I really like this guy, he's the only person I've ever met though that has done this. We would have to go out to bid for something of this size anyway, but at least we kinda have something to do. So if OSAC wants to recommend going out to bid for this,
Mhm.
you know, we can accept this bid, and then we can request other bids for 30 days and see where we're at. But the grasslands have really not been maintained in any kind of like real way since the most recent I can see is 2004, when there was a pretty big spot treatment done
Well, that's when the seeding took place.
in the seeding, okay, so yeah.
It was plowed and certain areas were discs and seeded at that point. And same goes for Griggstown.
Yeah,
Griggstown, the major invasive there is mugwort.
right,
And in addition, there are other areas that have, well, other invasives, but particularly the Griggstown area around the parking lot, literally all the way down the road,
Mhm.
is either all mugwort, or you've got about 40 acres of blackberries and raspberries, which
yeah,
I think some of us have eaten on the way. Our trips out there.
Snacked on.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad habitat,
right, yeah, yeah.
in those areas.
The
But,
other thing you brought up that was interesting
Invasive
too though,
trees.
remember with the mowing, he said, so we have mowers come in every
Right.
year, and part of
So
the
he
maintenance
thought
plan, they
that'd
mow a
keep the trees
third
down.
of each, right?
right.
But another thing he brought up that I thought was interesting is he said the mowers that we're using, and this is no fault of their own because we don't put this in the bid, there's a different, what do you call
Well,
it,
it's a
blade,
flail. It's a-
like
it's
a
a-
different type of blade they should be using.
he
Like a
recommended
thatching type
a
thing
flail,
or something?
Yeah,
flail
flail,
type
yeah.
mower, for that. If I could back up just a little bit, because
Yeah.
the Audubon plan was, an intelligent plan,
Mhm.
it just didn't work over the long term.
Mhm.
Because the original Audubon plan was to get local farmers
Mhm.
to come in and mow,
Right.
using what are called sickle bar mowers, because they would harvest
Mhm.
the grass and bale it and sell it to mushroom growers out in Pennsylvania. But no local farmer wants to deal with this anymore. For one thing, the grasslands are so contaminated with invasives that the mushroom growers don't want
Don't
it.
want it.
Okay. The second thing I learned from actually talking to the mowers this year
Oh, right.
is that the mower said, you know, this is really stupid, that apparently in the bid, the conditions of the bid are that if they bale it and sell it, they gotta deduct that from their price
Mhm.
Oh.
for the mowing. So there's no
Right.
incentive
It's- Yeah.
for the mowers even to go in and do a good job.
It's a lot of effort, yeah.
So
for
the
nothing.
mowers that you have had for the last few years are actually are guys that contract to mow highways.
Mhm.
The guy told me that they mow the airbase, the runways on the
Yeah.
airbase down there and so on.
Yep. Well, they're the only bidder for the last
Yeah,
3, 4
it's
years,
just been,
no other
just,
bidders.
just been one bidder.
So,
yeah,
Then
where you go.
one thing I'd
Yeah.
like to bring out is that I've been talking to people that I know, grasslands experts, real experts, in that, particularly ones in Texas, saying that they have problems with invasives down there because the Texas highways are mowed, and in Texas they seed the highways with wildflowers. That's a big program. But what's happening is that the mowers are bringing invasives into other areas because they're not cleaning their mowers off of there. So they've got protected areas that are being continually inoculated with invasives from the highways and the other things that they do. So it's a problem in that respect. And the other thing about the mowing is these grasses are prairie grasses, and the growing point of the grass is about 6 inches off the ground. So when you mow, you have to specify that they cut, higher than 6 inches on the grasses. Otherwise, you lose the growing point of the grasses and so on. So that all plays into it. And so the Audubon strategy, initially, it was a good strategy. It was brilliant in one sense, but it's
I
just
mean, so that they could take the hay.
so they could take the hay, so you
And
get
sell
local
it.
farmers to do
Right.
it.
That's what
and so
happened
on.
when I first
And,
got on open space. They had local farmers that were doing that,
Right.
and they didn't take any money for it, and they took the hay, and it was free to us.
I didn't know that. I have the feeling the specifications for the bid may have changed over the years.
That's
So maybe,
Probably.
so maybe you need an expert to kind of like say what should be in the bid. Like you said, certain
Right.
mowers, certain height,
Well, I think in the bid specifies
That's
that
maybe
certain
Yeah,
mowing.
that'll be made from now on, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I can get a lot of that information from, if we use one of these people or Audubon, now that they're under contract with us, I can get that information from them and put it in
Yeah.
the bid. But the mower we're using, now we know there's a different type of blade they should be using, and we
is it
really,
Also time of year factor and,
Right.
time of
we
year
have
to factor,
Right.
yeah, now he had
Birds
said,
and-
what's the best time he said to mow was in the winter, right?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. It's typically in the fall
Right.
is when you would mow for these particular conditions.
Yeah,
See, these grasslands are planted with what are called warm season grasses. They're planted in early spring for the initial planting, and they go for years, if you get a good planting in. But when you harvest warm seed grasses, you harvest them late in the year, so nesting birds that are ground nesters, like dick thistles and these rare breeds that we actually have out there, are through nesting. You don't want a mower coming through. And with cold season grasses, like, which are the agricultural grasses, like timothy and alfalfa and others, you mow them at the same time that the birds are nesting, is basically what it amounts to. And
Yeah.
so you lose the habitat.
yeah.
Now
Well, the good news is that, we have this bid now, so at least we have something to show to OSAC and be like, here's a general idea, and is it gonna stay first? Yes, but Brian said that this is really it's not a every year thing. You do this, you take care of it the right way once, and then we might be able to, spot if,
Well, we may be able to catch a spot seed.
seed, yeah, we might, replant some things, but we really need, basically, it's time to
Yeah.
really do this, so.
Yeah,
Right.
before it's
Well,
too
it's
late.
gonna destroy the grasslands if we don't do it.
Yes,
So I
you're
don't
right.
think there's an option here.
I
think
agree.
it needs to be done.
So I'm hoping they're favorable for it, so you'll hear it again on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Now, you said the cost is like 55,000. Is that for both sites? Or
That's
is
for
that just
both
naming?
sites.
Okay,
For
and not the
both.
entire
Half of
property,
both
it's
sites.
just.
that's
okay.
half of both sites.
Got it,
Half.
okay.
Now, there's a lot of
Target areas.
woodlands and things that obviously don't
Yeah.
need to be treated, so
Right.
we're estimating half. Could it be a little more? Yeah, but I think, even if we just say, you know what, we're gonna do half, that's,
It's a starting point,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Uh,
see how it works, I guess.
Did he give you a list of the herbicides? that they're-
He did, did I forward it to you or no?
No,
All
but
right, I'll
I'd like to
forward
get
it
a
to you.
copy of it. One of the things I wanna do is, because I anticipate that there will be public concerns
Yeah.
about carcinogenicity,
Right. There always
and, you know,
is.
there are all sorts of issues that people will raise.
Sure.
I mean, I did look at herbicides that were mentioned when we met up there. They were mainly talking about stinger,
Stinger, yeah.
all right, and it's, well, first of all, everything is a carcinogen, okay,
All right,
first of
so
all.
give us the bad news, keep going.
Stinger's no better than
Roundup?
Roundup is actually a very non-carcinogenic herbicide. Unfortunately, the extreme greens are as bad as the extreme industrialists in terms of their
Yeah.
propaganda with this, that, you know, so they're trying to promote carcinogenicity, the reason we shouldn't use it.
Yeah,
But
we're gonna need to have like an
Stinger is
education.
safe,
Yeah.
as safe, and it's actually safe as Roundup. It's safer than some tomatoes that you would eat, which have high alkaloid contents. You know, less carcinogenic than certain potato varieties that were that were generated
All right,
not.
let's not scare us away
intentionally.
from all of our vegetables or nightshades,
Well,
let's just,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
point is that we eat carcinogens all the time. You know,
so my
things that are
question is,
classified.
when would you use the herbicide? What time of year would have to be utilized?
I
I would
asked him
have to
about
go, let's
that.
go to the experts. 'cause
We have
I-
to ask him, I
Because that's
asked
a
him
very
about
specific
that.
question, like,
I know,
you
and you know, I
start
did
the growing
ask
season,
him,
like when you do your lawn, you're gonna do
Right.
it when the forsythias come
I
up, or?
asked him, would it make more sense to do it after the mowing or before the mowing? And his thought was after the mowing, like, but
Yeah.
almost immediately after the mowing
Yeah.
would be the best.
So it'd be
But really, it
April.
can be done any time of year, but the most effective time is gonna be right after mowing, so we have some time, because we typically
Have to
mow
wait
in
for the
November.
birds.
What you wanna do is you
Take
wanna
off.
treat the knapweed before it makes seeds,
Right,
because, I mean, there's a huge seed bank of knapweed there already. If you- I could show you
Yeah.
the expanses out there. Let's go out and look, in fact, because it'd be
Yeah.
fun.
We like our weeds.
Yeah,
When it's warmer.
We're,
Yeah.
go ahead,
So,
Murphy and I.
yeah, but I'd like,
Alright.
I would really like to see the proposal. look at
yeah,
it,
I just
look at
sent it
in
to you,
detail.
I just emailed it to you,
Thank you very
so,
much.
you know, I just wanted to make sure no one had any major objections to it before I brought it to OSAC.
I think it's time we
and-
look at all the
Yeah.
facts and get all the information we need
Yeah.
before it's gone.
Mm. Now, John
Yes.
Park is also enthusiastic about doing controlled burns in certain
Yes, and
areas.
I love that idea from
Well-
Autobahn. John Park is the one from
Mm.
Autobahn writing the plan,
Yeah.
and he really likes the idea of doing these controlled burns as a way of maintain. And I think that's a great idea because it replenishes the soil, and it's just all. It's good for, you know. It's actually better for the environment than what we do.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of, you know, on the other side
Logistics.
of that that
Yeah.
has to be.
Well,
yeah,
actually,
so-
burning is about the only way you can control the cedar.
Right.
And
So-
I've been looking into this.
Could we do a combination of things?
We probably could,
We
and that's,
probably
this
should.
maintenance plan will address that. The maintenance plan will talk about, you know, burning
versus
and
chemical.
chemicals and mowing time,
Yeah,
replanting, and then he's also be talking about mixing in cool season grasses with warm
Mhm.
season grasses.
Mhm.
So a lot of different, you know,
This is
options.
Audubon you're talking about.
Audubon, yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
yeah.
And they can
Well,
help
the
us
coal-
with our in creating the habitat of the animals we want to
Yeah,
inspire.
absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
right. In fact, the herbicide guy was saying, you know, that if you treat some of these invasives, it will actually release some of the seeds from the grasses that are in the
Mhm.
seed bank that are being prevented from germinating.
Yeah.
So we may get recovery.
So,
Uh,
Which would be
Pretty
nice.
interesting, yeah.
uh,
There's gonna
for
be
that
a little
reason.
bit of a battle, I'm sure. I mean, that's the thing we have to like brace ourselves for, but I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
there
we'll
will
get
be.
there.
as we move forward, are these entities planning to do some sort of presentation or things like that, Audubon, you know,
Yeah.
Weeds Incorporated, because I mean,
I
the
would
more
love to
information
hear.
out there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah.
because we're getting bits and
Definitely,
pieces,
yeah.
but I'm sure it'd be much
Yeah.
more thorough.
Well, Audubon will present the draft, maintenance plan when they're in the final draft stage. So that'll be somewhere like July, August, September, somewhere in there. I would say September probably. They'll present this draft plan, then you'll all have feedback we'll probably do another joint meeting of like OSAC and Trails, and so that everyone can have feedback. And then the weeds
Limit the
guy.
agenda.
Yeah, let's
Yes,
look at the agenda.
yes, the weeds
No
person,
baseball.
you know, I can't guarantee if it goes forward that Weeds Incorporated is gonna win the bid, cause it's gonna be low bid, is what's gonna
Right.
probably happen.
Right.
You know, so whoever, we could ask them to come in as well, whoever that is.
Now, low bid, suppose I low bid it, right?
Mhm.
And I'm putting crap out there, but I'm low bid. And Jim comes in and he does something that's a higher bid, but it's more in the line of what we're thinking.
Right.
Does it automatically go to me, who's just gonna spray anything out there?
You know, I think
I'm
we
just
can,
curious.
I think if it's for certain like
It's-
purchasing issues, you
Yeah.
can make it so that, you know, there's a heavier weighting on, you know, that type of
Yeah.
issue.
You can make
I don't think
specifications
it's-
about.
Yeah, it's how
Yeah.
The quality and
The wording.
mechanism action, the
Yeah,
the wording
pesticides,
of
the
the bid.
herbicides, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the
Wording
wording of the
is
bid's gonna be
critical.
important, it is,
Right.
so we might have to look at that before it
Yeah.
goes out too,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to make
It's
sure
gonna
that,
be key.
Yeah, can I look at that as well
Yeah,
when you set up the
absolutely.
bid?
yeah,
Because I would like to, you know,
Yeah.
Just review it as an expert, you know, and
Input,
say,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no bid right now,
Things that
Weeds
public
just submitted
awareness
a
for-
quote. But if OSAC gives us the okay to write the bid, then yeah, absolutely, I'll share it with everybody
Excellent.
before.
Boy, if we could be the ones who take this around and really refurbish it to what it should have been, that would be remarkable.
It would,
cause it's just been like 15 years, if the
Yeah.
last real,
yeah, it's
How
gotta
about
be.
for-
Apparently, we were the
taken care of.
first, we were the first sites that Audubon set up.
Mhm.
Is that,
Yeah.
as far as I understand? And they learned from us, you know, in a sense that,
And they've been
by
doing
first
all
in
over
New
the
Jersey
state.
and Somerset
in,
County.
in New Jersey, now, I don't know that,
Yeah.
see, Audubon's local chapters are separate from national
Mhm.
Audubon. I
Right.
mean, we run into this problem down in Florida, it's not a problem, it's just,
It's just something to
we
be aware of.
encounter it in Florida as well, and, they have their own
Yeah.
stuff that they do,
Yeah.
and they work with national, but, so.
I wouldn't be surprised if John Luce, who developed all these grasslands, brought in Audubon and some.
Oh, I think John did.
Yeah, he
Uh,
probably did.
John was instrumental in setting up these plans and working with Audubon and so on.
Yeah.
He's a valuable resource.
He is, maybe he'll even take a quick look at the RFP for us, just to
Mhm.
see,
Oh,
if he doesn't
I would
mind.
recommend.
I'm sure
that.
he would.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would love
just
to
to make
see
sure
it.
we're on the
Yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
the right
Yes.
track. We have to go to OSAC first though, it's gonna be like, you know,
Right,
some
there's
people
few
are gonna
steps
be
more.
like, maybe not so
That's
excited
right.
about spending, but I think it'll be okay, I think we'll make it through.
We'll overwhelm them.
Yes.
There you go.
Sounds good.
That's your job, John.
I was gonna say, because I think those are unique properties, and
Yeah.
you really wanna keep it, I mean, you know, as a layperson just going there, it's like, okay, it's green, okay, good enough, you know?
Yeah,
And
me
it's
too,
not
yeah.
trees, okay, it's a grassland.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know all these weeds
But
and
you
things
know,
like that, but,
We've created
But
a
the
special,
bird
a
watchers
special
know.
place here.
That's
yeah,
right.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Tourism
unique
industry.
and,
Birders
and,
love it there.
Yeah.
Oh,
oh,
they do.
absolutely.
And the thing is, like with any like park infrastructure or anything like that, it's gotta be maintained, it's gotta be, you know, taken care of in
It
order
just-
for it to
exactly.
continue,
Just
so.
like a swimming pool, just
Yes.
like
A
a
baseball
park.
field, soccer
baseball
fields, like
field.
that, you don't think of it as needing maintenance, but it does, so
Yeah.
excellent.
All right.
That's great,
Cool,
great
alright,
agenda item.
good, I'm glad. Now, just real quick, before we move on to pathways and trails, I just wanna tell you that I just wanna get the dates here.
Is there another copy of
The
agenda?
Woodcock walks are gonna be on March 22nd
Yeah.
and March 29th
Where,
From-
which park?
at
Which-
Negri,
Oh.
from 7:45 to 9.
Can you go over that again?
So
Neighbor?
March 22nd and
Woodcock
March 29th,
walks.
7:45 to 9, the Woodcock walk at Negri, both times at Negri, and it's led by Chris Williams.
One more time, I'm sorry.
That's okay, March 22nd and 29th, 7:45 to 9.
And if it's cool, wear warm clothes.
Yeah.
Shoes, boots,
Yeah.
socks, electric socks, whatever you
And be
can.
prepared
I
to
know,
be
right?
It was cold,
It
yeah.
was cold. I think that was what it was.
Woodcock walk, yep.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
you've
God, that's
actually
pretty
seen
funny.
a woodcock at Negri?
Well, it was crossing a path, it could have been,
It could have been something, I think,
I-
yeah, we saw.
we were
Yeah.
very hopeful at that point that that's what it was.
They're tough to
'Cause
find.
it was cold.
But, and you can probably hear them better than you can see them.
I think, yeah,
Well, there
that's
was-
true.
there
We
was
took some
discussion
grandkids
about
to
it.
one of them a few years back, and we did see some,
Did you?
Yeah.
even though the kids were bored out of their minds, but I made them keep walking it.
There you go.
You have to say, oh, UFO. And maybe that'll keep their interest, you know, something like that, but, and that was at Negri?
That was Negri.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And, do you have it, did I miss that, I know they do the, cleanup around, Pine Grove School, and they're renaming it the John Clyde Memorial
Oh, yes.
Cleanup. Is that April or March, or I saw it listed, but
Is the Boy Scouts, are the Boy Scouts involved in that?
I don't think so. I think it's just
Oh.
more
I think
of a
it's a
volunteer thing, a
Community
township thing.
volunteer thing.
It's
Community.
April 13th.
Ah,
If I may
okay.
speak.
Oh, yes,
Yes,
definitely.
public?
Thank you.
9:30 to 12
Thank you.
a.m.
We need her.
So something to bring up. And is it at Pine Grove? Is that where, do you know what that
Well,
is?
so they say the meeting place is actually, like right by Hamilton Street.
The firehouse?
It's at the
thing?
church on Hamilton Street, right?
Well, yeah, it's where that church
Saint-
is, of that
somebody's
St.
church
Peter
over
and
there, yeah.
Paul and everything. There's like a whole, green belt that goes down this whole long stream there that nobody ever goes to.
Right.
You
It's
know?
It's an unimproved township park.
Yeah,
Oh, that, I know what you're talking about, that big church.
right,
And it follows Mile
Right off of
Stream.
Hamilton, on the
Right.
other side of New
Pocket park?
Brunswick.
right. It's almost to
They
New
call it
Brunswick. It's
Pocket
right
Park.
at the New Brunswick border.
What is the name of the park? Pocket Park? It's something
No.
starting with a P, I
A
think.
pocket
No,
park, no.
no, it's a
Generic
long
term
park.
for a
It-
small
it-
park, they're calling them
It's not
pocket.
small, actually.
No, it goes,
it
it
extensively
goes down
follows
the
that,
stream. They
10 miles
call that
run
stream
stream that
Mile Run,
eventually
and it goes-
goes into the, river at Landing
Yeah,
Lane.
yeah.
right at Landing Lane, yeah. Well, we were looking at, that, I mean, if it's okay for me to speak, we were looking at it on the map, and, I'm trying to remember the name of what they call that park, but it's totally unimproved, and I'm not sure what the access is. But they said for this cleanup, you should go to, I just got this off the township website, so you can go on there probably. They said you should go to, where the church is on Hamilton Street there. And.
St. Peter and Paul or something like that?
Yes, that's the church, but they said the actual access is really kind of over the border into New Brunswick,
Mhm.
Down
so.
the hill from the church?
Yeah, cause that's
Yeah.
where
Go on
the,
the
there's a lot of
township
fences and a
website,
lot of,
yeah,
like,
see.
you see a little bit of a stream.
I'm not in the net,
Oh,
book, I
okay.
can't do it.
Okay,
Uh,
but I
I
wrote
guess
it
I
down in my
could
little books.
Try to get on it.
Yeah, and hopefully there'll be more information coming out. I think I get these township emails, and I think that was one of them.
Yeah,
I don't know
well,
if I
this
still
was
have
on
it.
the township
It's on the-
website. so
Yeah,
you go-
yeah.
And
And
some of
it's
these-
on the 13th
Okay.
of April. So we're not babysitting that day, we'll be there, but we don't know.
I'll probably be doing my taxes.
We
I'll
might
wait till the
cut it
14th.
close.
Right. Alrighty.
Just, I've handed out some of these, our things to do map in Franklin, and people who like maps like it, and people like things to do like it as well.
Oh,
So-
good, I'm
So
glad.
it's really, I've gotten some feedback, so.
That's
I've been-
really
been,
good.
That's good.
Do we have a lot of those, 'cause I think at Franklin Day, even a couple of years ago, they have a lot of realtors. And I said, I said, when we get the new maps, we'll drop them off.
Yeah.
And, cause I'm sure, and the feedback I got was pretty positive. They said, yeah, that'd be a good selling point. I mean,
Yeah, I'll
the
check
houses
with,
are, things like
I'll
that.
check with
But it's never
IT.
been done. I mean,
Yeah,
I never followed through, so if there's
I'll
maps.
check with IT because, I think they hold all the extra copies of the map, so I'll check with them.
I think I have some, I wanna give them to you.
That's right.
I have a bin,
Okay,
I have our trails bin, our to-go bin,
right, our travel,
our travel bin,
our setup.
okay.
But okay, yeah,
I think there's
if
a
that's
lot
the
of
case, I can
Okay.
go to these realtors and they'll just have them and, people looking around say, hey, maybe it's a selling point. But, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Alright, on to the pathways and trails plan, I
Okay, old
guess.
business, yeah.
So,
I missed your email, I apologize for that, cause before we even were talking about agendas and things like that, if we wanted to go forward, cause I know Mark and Vanessa do add a lot to it.
yeah,
So I think what we should do is we'll go ahead and do what we can, and then, maybe
Okay.
if there's, we can let them know the changes, and then we can kind of like very quickly recap at the next meeting that
Yeah.
they're there, cause Vanessa and
Yeah.
Mark,
Mhm.
Mark knows a lot about the origins of this, he's a regional
Mhm.
member of the Trails
Yeah.
Committee.
Mhm.
And Vanessa has some good ideas too, and neither of them are here, but I think, we should probably try to plod ahead without them, and, they can add things next month. or,
Okay.
before the next meeting.
Can you put them up on the big screen?
I'm trying, so I have, this big screen, this
Screen's
cord is basically not
Not
helping
working.
out, but
It's a jiggle thing?
it's yeah, so once I get it in the right spot, the problem is if I move. So I emailed IT and was like, they did mention that they thought this cord was on the way out, so I ordered my own cord, which I'll have for next time, but what we can do, while I'm trying to figure this out, so where we left off last time, let me just back up, so I presented the vision and goals and all that stuff to this committee a while back.
Okay.
And I basically looked at the plan that John put together, and it's just a matter of updating it. So I went through and reviewed, like, what needs to be updated, where are we at, so we completed vision statement, goals, and objectives, so everyone agreed on that, and we're all set. The place we left off is the chapter for assets and obstacles, so I did draft that, I want it to be up here, but it's like not working with me.
Here's like a summary, this is what
Yeah.
we've been going over, and then there's like,
Okay.
that's kinda like the overview, and then we have the
Right.
details here.
So a lot of it is just updating, John's work, but in the assets.
I thought I had one on my
This is all I
computer.
have.
I left mine at home,
Yeah.
so.
But
Yeah.
take a look.
If it
Here,
pops
take
up
a look.
here at some point, let's
Those-
see.
those
if
things I have.
completely unplug it.
And,
Assets and obstacles, we can at least talk about it, but what I really want us to look at is this map anyway, today,
Got it.
so.
Oh,
Say if you move,
Yeah.
then it's over,
hold
so.
your breath, don't move, don't breathe.
We left off on assets and obstacles, obviously talking about
You didn't
what
even
we
touch it,
have.
it went on and on.
Yeah,
It's on, oh.
I know.
Oh.
So there's a brief history of Franklin Township in there, which is basically the same as what it was, I just added a little bit. I added some information about the geology in Franklin Township and the population demographics. And then I did all the assets, so the assets was looking at all the trails we have and just giving a brief description of them. So a lot of it I took from the website. For each trail, we say how many miles of trails are, what are some interesting features that are there, how many acres is the property. And then I took right from the website what's allowed there, so like if dogs are allowed, the little checkbox, so that's all in there, that's all done. And it's really like just factual information. Then we have, okay, so then these are brief, so I'll just read them to you. So consideration, so these are things that we need to think about when we're talking about assets and we didn't talk about any obstacles yet, this is just assets. So maybe today, what I wanted to do was go over this map one more time, because we've looked at it one more time we've looked at it once to identify like potential trail. I want our IT department to then take these ideas and map them so that they are on a map.
Potential trails or something?
Yeah, potential or connectors, or if there's a trail here that's, that we thought used to be good, but now it's not, we can look at that. Let's see here, so I'll start like drafting some obstacles, but what we can talk about today is, can you guys tell me some obstacles that you can think about that you have to basically deal with in order to get trails or connector trails or the trails we already have? But I have put recommendations in each chapter, and there's only 3 of them right now, so if you have more, we can add them, but tell me what you think about these. The first is add review for potential trails to land development. That's actually not mine, that came from Mark, and I think that's a good one. So basically,
Can you repeat that?
if a land development, it's add review for potential trails to land development checklist. So if an application for land development comes in, it's a matter of just adding a little checkbox in there that basically
Yes.
says, is there gonna be
Yeah.
any open space, or
Right.
are you
Oh,
near
yeah.
a trail?
We talked about that.
And then we can have this committee look at it and say, hey, maybe we can negotiate with these people to get a trail there. The other one was review all open space and farmland purchases for potential on-site trails. So I have been doing that since I came in. Unfortunately, I haven't found any yet. There was one that I thought we might be able to get at the Terhune Farm, I think I mentioned that. But that's, the landowner is not, doesn't want that. So, but just for your knowledge,
Is that property you're trying to acquire?
we're trying to acquire, yeah.
Okay.
And
Just,
where's that located?
that is on
It's
Canal
on
Road.
Canal Road.
Okay.
You know where there's 2 barns across from each other, or there's a house and there's 2 barns and there's always tractors in there of all kinds?
Okay, how far down, say like from Amwell,
It's
Well,
a little
about
bit
halfway
past
down from the water
yeah,
plant.
causeway.
Right,
Yeah, just as you after you cross, coming from the water plant, you cross the bridge,
Right.
correct.
and then that's where all the
Yeah.
tractors
That's where
are.
it is.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about,
Area.
I know what you're
Why
talking about.
are all those tractors out there?
He sells them,
Does he?
yeah, John was telling me.
Antique tractor
They're
guy.
antique
Yeah.
tractors,
tractor
and
dealer,
he
yeah.
gets them and finds people that want them, and he ships them out.
That's like
Cause some of them look like rusting
I
bolts
know.
type trim.
Oh, that's what they like.
more rust. Yeah.
So the good thing is that, just for your
That's like
knowledge,
the plow
anything
on
that
our
comes
street.
past me, I am
Front
reviewing
yard?
for
Yes.
potential trails. Nothing has come yet that's like really been anywhere near a trail, but if something does, I absolutely will bring it to you guys.
Yeah.
So, I have been trying to do that. And then design trails through the perspective of transportation in addition to recreation. So this is maybe a little off.
Yeah, actually,
But my thought is, so when we're looking at a trail, we should obviously be looking at it for walking and biking and all
Mhm.
that for recreation, but we should maybe also start thinking about them as ways of transportation,
Yeah.
you know, that people need to use to get to work or school or whatever. It's just kind of like a lofty goal, but it might be
Well,
worth having
I
in
think
there.
it ties into the Hamilton Street development. You know, we're looking for all those ways to attract college students.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
those college students, not all of them have cars, a lot of them are on bikes, and then
Right.
kind of like putting all that together would be a nice component.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I was in Metuchen recently, cause that's where my in-laws live, and we were parking right by where the, East Coast Greenway, they have an East Coast Greenway entrance there, and right at the entrance, they have those green bikes, the Lime bikes, you know, that you can rent. I mean, that may be something, I don't know if there's a better spot for that on one of our trails, but they really do work well. You know, the only problem I know is there's some, I mean, you need like a township employee to make sure that they're there and that they're not, vandalized or
Vandalized,
anything.
yeah.
But that might be a good opportunity, you know? So.
Yeah, Hamilton Street is changing so much
Mhm.
that something like that, you know, maybe in that, where John's
Yeah.
used to be, that parking lot, there's a lot of space there, have bike stuff there
I
or
think
something.
that would be
or near the-
excellent.
Mhm.
Yeah, and maybe have one on, maybe even if we just pick one trail to see how it works, and we put one at the beginning and one at the exit, you know, and then just see how it
That's a good
works.
idea, yeah.
So I could add that in if you're thinking maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, for redeveloping that area, let's see what we can do.
yeah,
Okay.
can I bring up something with regard to the previous, I think it relates to the previous thing as well, and John, well, familiar with it, John Luce and I were out on the Butler Road Trail, getting John Luce advice among other things.
Heavily mudded up.
Yeah, we slogged through the mud and crossed the log across the stream and didn't fall in, and all that sort of stuff. But at last meeting, I raised up this problem with the hunters who
Right.
want to be able to take out their game on the north end of that area there. And we actually got out there and looked at the area, and one of the things that John Luce was suggesting was that originally there was an older plan to create a trail on the perimeters of the leased land
Mhm.
which would actually go out to Saddam Road. And John mentioned that in a new lease agreement, you might be able to get a stipulation in there that part of the area could be developed as an extension, a part of the trail itself. And I don't know whether that's the sort of thing that, I don't know how often these lease agreements come up, but is that something that maybe we should be thinking about looking at as well?
Did he think that lease agreement would tie into the hunters getting their carcasses out easier?
Well, yes, that would create a trail
Okay.
that would allow the hunters to go out north to Saddam Road. The other thing we're thinking about, who's the guy that has a nursery at the north end there?
Yeah, he has a nursery on 27.
Oh, Madden.
Madden, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing John suggested was maybe just trying to get to talk to Madden about whether he would allow hunters to come in to his road in his property to take out that area. Madden has an interest keeping deer levels low as well. He grows nursery plants
Right.
right at that area there. And whether or not we might be able to facilitate some arrangement with him and the hunters to allow them access to that end of the property and so on. I don't know whether that should be within our purview or not, but
It's a thought.
something
Yeah,
that I think maybe we ought to consider as one of the functions of the committee is to facilitate these things and review
Well, that could be
leasing
included in
arrangements and
discussions
so on.
Transactions.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
His property adjacent to hunting lands, or?
Yes, his property just borders on
Yeah.
the hunting land.
Okay,
We tried
all right.
to
Where's
get
he-
him to
where's his-
agree to-
This is on the north trail from Butler Road. If you just go to the parking lot and you just head straight north, you cross that
And I'm not doing that or
problem
nothing.
stream there.
So, he's
And
very difficult.
it's in the north end. It's actually there's a lot of deer out there.
Right, but what street does he have his business on?
He doesn't like
Saddam Road.
Yeah, yeah.
Saddam Road, if you take it from Middlebush,
I think
it goes
that's
straight
what
west and then it makes two
and
right angle
he
bends,
says he
okay?
signed the
Madden's
contract,
property
so
is
he-
right at
I mean, the fact that he
the
did that,
right angle
yeah,
bend
but
there.
we'll see, you know,
And
we'll see,
he has a road
I hope
that
so.
goes all the way to the boundary of the north end of that.
Oh, yeah, of course,
We're gonna see what
area.
Chuck's talking about.
yeah. Now, while they're looking for that, what do you guys think about the Adopt a Trail program? Should that be reinvented, or was that?
This is the other side,
This
the
fall?
southern end here.
Well, we did have a lot of discussion on that, and people who have done it in the past, I think I
This is
can
Madden's
sum it up by
property, right?
describing it as
okay.
not being very
So
successful,
the other thing would be to make a trail.
but we
This-
haven't talked about it
This
in
is
quite a while.
Trini's.
What does it involve? Talk about
Okay, so yeah, so the northern part of
I
this
don't
trail. yeah.
remember what the outlines were of it, but maybe you can review that for us. 'cause
I
that's a
can
very good
review
question.
that, I mean, I think it's worth reinventing it, basically we had, I believe like the Boy Scouts had a trail, and they were supposed to make sure there was no litter on it, report anything that was, you know, not supposed to be happening on it to us, and apparently it was like, there wasn't a lot of follow-up with it, so the trail would be adopted, but then you wouldn't get that response, so maybe we need to do something to reinvent it, or reinvigorate it.
They're not allowed?
And then what was the other thing? Adopt a trail, okay.
Is Adopt This Trail still a national thing?
Mhm.
Is it- I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
it's
there's a
national.
program still, yep.
They would say,
So in terms of obstacles, here's some of the things that I thought about that maybe you consider obstacles, I do, maybe, you
Butler
know.
Road, and that's the nursery property.
The first one is, funding for the creation and maintenance of trails. So I think we have funding for the creation of trails, but we don't always use funding for maintaining trails. So kinda like what we were talking about before with the grasslands. I think, you know, it's great to keep building up the inventory of things we have, and that's really important, but we need to set aside money for stewardship of those things. And that, not just the trails, but for everything we have, you know, the grasslands. So is there an obstacle, do you feel, is it an obstacle to get, you know, support for maintenance of trails, or no, is that just, we just need to work on it?
Well, you know, the open
Well, if we
space
get our
fund
55,000.
funds several positions
Mm-hmm,
in
We do
public
receive this.
works
right,
for the maintenance
That's
of
true.
open space and
Yeah.
trails.
Right.
And the public works guys come out and
Yeah.
they clean up the trails.
they do, yeah.
My experience this summer with them is, they don't necessarily do a good job at it because they don't know where to go.
Right, so maybe we need to
And
supervise more,
in
direct more.
one sense, I think that leads to, maybe we should be brought into supervising these things for the trails that we're responsible for, so that when they go do maintenance, they meet up with us, and we can tell them, yeah, you're on the trail, or no, you're heading off on private property.
Yeah.
Which,
They start to blaze their own path at one
yeah,
point.
Like
which
Vanessa.
I caught them doing this summer.
So maybe it's, I don't know if it's an obstacle, but basically it's training for our, DPW staff.
Training
I think it
or
almost
our
Collaboration with, is that what you're thinking? Mark?
consulting with, or
Okay,
Collusion with.
supervising Word
Collusion.
freeze.
Collusion with DPW.
Collusion.
All right, now, one of the obstacles I have here is adapting to changes in land development patterns. I mean, that's an obstacle, I don't know if there's anything we can do to fix it though.
Land development.
Yeah,
what
I
do
mean,
you-
the way that Franklin, you know, is being so built up in some areas where it used to be open space, or it used to be a lot less density, but there's really, I don't know really any way we can react to that. I mean, we can react to it, I don't know any way we can
I
change
think-
it.
Address it.
Yeah, we
Address
talked
it,
about
yeah,
if there is those new pieces, seeing if there are check-off box for trails.
yeah,
Seems like that's tied into that in some aspect.
so,
I don't know
but,
what
yeah.
to do
So,
about.
under zoning, is that what you're?
Well, we're talking about, one of the first things she said is as assets, and that we're talking about a check-off box, and there's an application
Mhm.
for different land use project, processes or whatever, that we could check off, trail use or whatever.
Yeah, so like in the site plan or subdivision review,
Mhm.
or it could be for variance, it could be on a variance application as well, if they'd be willing to do that, which I don't see why not, you know.
We have that Consolata property, that's gonna be like,
That's gonna be a big one when it comes to design time, yeah,
where are we
absolutely.
with that piece of property?
It's not yet at design phase,
Okay.
but, I guess it's moving that direction, so, yeah.
'Cause that's the mother lode.
We've already purchased it.
It's purchased, yeah, but we need to figure out, you know, where the trail's gonna be and where the, you know, there was a lot of different ideas about what was gonna happen there, and now that that's kind of, I think,
But that was ticketed to become the Board of Ed, the structure anyway.
The buildings.
Yeah,
Right.
the buildings.
Yeah.
but there's still a good amount of property
Oh, I
that's
know
gonna be
that,
left
and
over.
it backs up to the, yeah.
Yeah. So hunting seems to be an obstacle sometimes, so one example is how we closed down Negri and Griggstown this year. I'm getting in the hunting reports to see if that made a difference, but,
That would
you
be
know,
very interesting.
Yeah, I'll
'Cause
find
it's really
out.
hard, you can only go on Sunday, I have to tell you.
Yeah, a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, we've had a few complaints that have said exactly
Yeah.
that. So it'll be interesting to see if it actually made a difference or not, closing it
Mhm.
down to see if it made any difference, cause we have a very serious deer problem.
So we only closed down the grasslands
Only the grasslands.
during firearm season.
During firearm season only,
Right.
however, you know, some people might view that as an obstacle, because it's like you can't really get to the trails, you can't use them
It's
from
done.
December 3rd to the middle of February,
Right.
however, if it made a big difference in thinning the deer herd out, then
Right.
that might be something to look at, but I'm just starting to
Yeah.
get them in.
You have to weigh
So.
the positives and negatives.
Right,
If it did have a
right.
big impact on deer, then it's like, okay, well, c'est la vie, I mean, you know, there's other trails, you go to, you know, some of the county ones or something.
Yeah.
But if
I
it doesn't
think in,
make that much of an impact, then.
Yeah, and in 2017, we were splitting the time, so in like the morning for 2 hours, it was walking time, and then for 2 hours after that was hunting time, then
That was
walking time.
crazy.
And when I started, I was like, I will not sleep December through February because someone is going to be, now, that doesn't stop people, because when we put the camera up at Griggstown, you know, we got the solar batteries took a long time to come in, they came in, IT's out there installing the camera, it's like February 1st, and someone comes walking by, not only they come walking by with their dog at the Griggstown, complaining about the camera, now that's dangerous because people are out there
Yeah.
hunting, you can't see them obviously, and you're not supposed to have a dog there. So that's another obstacle, is like misuse of trails, you know, having
Mhm.
dogs there, we've had a lot of incidences of vandalism. We've had fences broken because hunters have
Yeah,
tried to
I've
come
been to-
through. So we have that as an obstacle as well, is how do we really police that better? You know, putting up a camera is one
How
thing.
do you balance the needs of
Right.
hunters versus
Right.
people that wanna use the property as a
Right.
recreational?
And then the cameras, they do help, I think, but they're very expensive. So we have two up now. We have one at Castleton, one at Griggstown now. But you know, we can't just put them up all over the place, you know,
It
that's.
is big, I've seen the one at Griggstown.
It
It's
is,
huge.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bigger than I thought.
Yeah. Yep, it has night vision and everything, but yeah.
Do you know if it's deterred anything, or?
It goes towards the parking lot, and it can read a license plate up to, I forget how many feet away. So I don't know if it's deterred anything. I think when we actually have to use it, then it'll it'll deter. If we have to go back and
Oh, you
use
see
it
the
as
gate
evidence.
bent, then you have to go back, review the tape.
Yeah.
And then, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And there has been, so there's another example, there has been concerns from people using the trails saying, you know, I don't like having the camera here because, I feel it's an invasion of privacy, or it makes it seem, you know, but So it's hard to say. It's like, but Griggstown, we had a lot of problems there. Vandalism specifically, there was really bad vandalism on the kiosk. Yeah,
It's
very
terrible.
offensive. And then the fence had to replace 4 different times. So, yeah, so maybe that's an obstacle, figuring out the right balance,
Yeah. But yeah. I
you know,
mean,
for users and
You're always
hunters.
gonna have differing opinions about this.
Right.
and we-
But I mean, yeah, the camera's mainly focused on the parking lot, but people.
It is.
People that are hiking say, oh, well, I don't want my car to be seen on the camera, and even if they're not seen hiking,
Right.
okay. I'm just, you know,
So maybe
Just
that's an
trying to
obstacle though, so
understand.
we can't address every obstacle, but it's good to know what we're dealing with,
sure,
basically.
sure.
Let me just go up here and see what the other ones were. I told you permitting limitations at stream crossings. Permitted, I wrote something weird here, permitting causing limitations at stream crossings. Oh, I know what it is. You had talked about there was a stream at your trail that it was impassable for
Right.
months.
Was that the one
Right.
Butler
I've got
Road?
witnesses.
Right. So, do we have
Totally
other
the same
areas like
myself.
that, where
Go
the
off that
trail's
log into
unusable
the
because
water.
of these types of issues? Is that a common thing, or is it, I mean, even if it's just that you're at Butler,
Well,
right?
this is simply a matter of trail, it's, in one sense, you can view it as trail maintenance.
Right.
But in another sense, I guess, well, trail construction, I guess, in this case, because it's not gonna be easily solved just with a.
Yeah. Now, what about the
Long
trail
marker.
markers? So I know we've had a lot of talks about trail markers. The ones we have, they get bent and they get turned the wrong way and all this. So someone had mentioned, what was it, like a chalk thing, or what was it, a paint?
Oh, paint.
Paint.
Uh,
Paint, was it painting like on the tree or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, these are standard trail symbols that you use paint to mark a trail, so you have
Yeah,
a paint slash here and a paint slash here means trail goes to the left, you know, or 2 paint slashes together mean trail goes straight forward, you know, till you see the next paint slash and that sort of thing.
right.
I mean, it's very widely used, but it's not as good, in my opinion, as
Yeah.
the metal markers.
Yeah.
So that's an obstacle, because if those trail markers are not correct or one falls down, it causes a big problem. One
Well,
place in
that's-
particular is
I
at,
heard
Our area out here at Butler is
Butler.
a big problem.
but also, by, Franklin Park Natural Area, where the farmer lives up there, where the farmer, it's by Old Plie Road. And you take that trail and you cross over his driveway to continue up the trail. But this happened to me when I first started here, the marker was down, so I just kept going. And then me and my kids ended up like at the door, we were like, oh. So they came out and said, oh, it's okay, this happens all the time, that's what they said. So I'm like, well, that's not good, we have to make
Right.
sure
Well,
that
that's-
people aren't
They're one of
coming
the
up.
nice ones.
Yeah.
So we have, I think that's an obstacle, is making sure that the signage is correct,
Is
because
actually
otherwise
correct.
leads you somewhere.
Where can we
No,
get,
you-
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, I was
No,
done.
I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, so that's an area, that's where it really is
Yeah.
impactful.
Where can we get more of the metal trail?
So I reached out to DPW, they don't order them, they've never ordered them apparently,
Okay,
so then
one
I,
fell off in Newbury, I wanted to
yeah.
replace it.
So I reached out to Fran and she said that she like ordered them on, Amazon.
I'll say, I sent you an invoice for a company that.
You did,
that-
and I reached out to them and they're no longer on our list, so
Mm.
we have to, I have to
Hmm.
figure out where those are,
Yeah.
or we, you know, does it have to be that trail marker? I mean, it's the regular trail marker, it just says like Franklin Township underneath. If you want just the hiker with the colors, you can order those on Amazon easily. That's no problem.
Oh,
So,
Yeah,
I
don't
could just
think we
get a
need-
bunch of those.
yeah.
I don't think we need Franklin, you know, custom-made Franklin ones, I
Mhm.
mean, you know you're in Franklin, but I mean,
Yeah,
if it's pretty much the same metal with just, you know, the colors and the hiker or an
Okay.
arrow or things like that.
yeah, I can order from Amazon from the township, I guess we have like a
Mhm.
contract with them, so that I can do easy breezy, and if you don't mind having no Franklin Township.
Yeah, I mean, you could
Does anyone
have
object to
some
that?
for a logo just at the trail entrance.
Alright, well, I
And,
will write a note to myself to do that
I mean,
then.
probably salvage some of it once we, after that.
This one was so shot through.
Yeah. Alright, that's that. So,
So those are all your obstacles?
well, does anyone else have any other obstacles they can think of? Do you ever feel like the trails, there should be, some trails that maybe should have different activities there, or is that just, or signage, or those, you know, like on the DNR canal, you can stop and they have like the signs, you can read about some history there. Are we missing that at some of our trails, or do you think they're great the way they are, just passive and?
Well, I wouldn't, I'm
Yeah,
not sure
the
you wanna call it
birds,
an
I think,
obstacle.
right?
I would like to establish a series of trail walks that we could set up and do. You know,
Okay.
to bring public, you know, to our trails. And, you know, you were talking to, a woman who said that,
Several.
they would like to be on the trails, but they're afraid to go.
They don't have to by themselves.
I would like to take people on trail walks,
Okay. Well, that can be under the policies and programs, but besides that, now that the nice weather is coming, we can do that. If you would like to volunteer
could
to,
you know, if other
yeah.
members of the committee, I'd like to go with Vanessa and Anne Marie and see what
Yeah.
they've learned about their own trails, you know,
We could do that. I
in
mean,
these areas, and,
if every
one
trail
is yours?
committee member
They
was
agree.
willing to, or not everyone, but say out of all of you, if like 4 of you were willing to do one, like each week for the month of June or something like that, we
Sure.
could
yeah.
make
I
it
mean,
like
we
a
could start a
series.
little earlier, I mean, maybe in April or May,
Okay.
I mean, I'm okay with it.
I can put it on the agenda for the next month if you
Sure,
want.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright.
The one thing I was just gonna say, at Inman Park, you know, it says there's a trail, but it's very hard to find. There's really not a, kiosk there, and it's just more or less a break in the bushes, and then it's like a gully going down.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah. And then, you know,
Yeah, that's
cause
true.
it starts around the
Right.
baseball field, you know, like, baseball field at the top of the thing,
Yeah.
and then you walk
Yeah.
around and back, and it just kinda ends, and then you just kinda like, okay, you're walking, and then it just kinda opens up, and then you find out, boom, you walk into a softball field, so it's just kinda like,
Okay.
and then you just walk back up a drive, you know, like a road pretty much,
Yeah.
but the entrance at the northern part of the park, it just, well, I guess it's the southern part of the park, but, the main entrance there, yeah, it's just kinda like, no, I don't even think anyone knows that that's really
Huh.
a trail.
I think
Okay.
it's
Kids do, because I
Doesn't
pick up a
sound
lot
like
of glass and a lot
Yeah,
of
kids.
junk.
Doesn't sound like a trail.
Well,
Yeah.
kids
Beer
will,
bottles, yeah,
Kids will
so,
find
so,
it, yeah.
so, oh, yeah, it's
Okay.
like a
Your
break in the
trail?
bushes.
That's your trail?
That's his,
Yes.
yep.
So it's not really a trail.
It's not really a trail, I mean, it is nice when it goes back, but then, yeah, you get into you see backyards.
It could
Some
be a
of-
nice little neighborhood path
Yeah,
back there,
yeah,
I
Someone
went
threw
on
their
a
air conditioner back
couple,
there, you
couple
know.
times, and not
Yeah.
sure I completed the whole thing, because I wasn't,
I
I think I'm saying what you're talking about. I
I've seen
wasn't sure
deer
where
and
it was.
foxes and stuff, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
wildlife there,
Huh.
but, yeah, towards the end, you know, you just get out there and then it's kinda like, okay, well, it's just kinda like a
Just a
grass
positive.
road.
Where do I go now? I guess I'll go down the hill and
Right,
So
to
yeah.
the softball field.
Yeah, like a signage there, trail
Definitely
end,
needs.
an arrow to the parking lot or something, so people have some sense that they're,
it's kinda like wide open,
An
so you can't really
opening,
put like a
a
trail
closing.
marker or anything,
Yeah.
it's just kinda like, okay, well, I guess the woods kinda end and it's just kinda like, now it's grass and it's like, you know, probably from here to the wall there pretty wide and it's, but, you know, you can find your way out, I mean, you're not gonna get,
no, but
Lost
having
in-
something like
Yeah.
trail end or something, especially in that
Yeah.
one where it's like, ugh,
have you been on it, you've seen it, it's just kinda like,
yeah. It just leads you out in the field, you're like, ugh.
like you can't really start,
Right.
from that other end, cause you don't really know where to go, but then,
Right.
Right.
so it's like a one-way trail
Yeah, it's a
pretty much,
one-way trail.
yeah.
What about Middle Bush? Do you think you need any signage on that to get people
The
going?
middle bush should actually be completely redone. Because the trails start, they stop, they don't, there's no consistency. There should be a set map with actually mile markers, or, you know, if you wanna walk a mile, or, you know.
Right,
they-
fitness.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think it
More of a
should,
fitness trail.
I think, it's so close to the, animal shelter, I think it should be tied in, because they bring people in to walk the dogs and so forth,
Oh, interesting,
Um,
okay.
so, but
Well,
no,
that's a good idea.
that's,
That's a good idea, having like an animal, like a more
well,
animal friendly type of
and they
trail.
also need your, doggy convenient bags.
Mhm.
Yes. Poop
Because,
bags.
yeah, because I'm not the only one that walks, I'm considerate, but based on the evidence and it's not, and I'm not saying it's their fault, because if you don't bring it with you, and it's not like you can just run
Right.
50 or 75 feet and get one, so.
Not like Colonial Park, that's fully
Yeah.
prepared.
And people look at it as more as a trail rather than like a sidewalk where, you know, like
Well,
you're
and-
walking
and-
on the
and
sidewalk
then-
of
then they-
someone's
They put
property.
in, I don't even know what to call it, but they did put a fitness, I guess, or some sort of an activity trail off one of the parking lots.
Is that the exercise type stuff or?
Yeah, it's, I don't know, and there's some art piece that just materialized, I have no clue as to what it is.
Sure it's not junk, someone
No,
jumped off or
no,
something?
it was
Modern art or
it was
junk?
professionally, when they did the stuff in the trail they put it in, it looks like a butterfly or something.
Oh.
I'll take a picture of it, I'll send it to you,
Okay,
Yeah.
what part of the,
It's by the two turf fields on the left. If you go
Okay.
on, your fields are on the right, about halfway down on the left-hand side, it's just like this, it's about 3 or 4 foot square. I think it's a butterfly maybe, but there's no name, it's no dedicated or, you know, it just,
Just
okay.
And that's by the exercise type?
It was, the people who did that extra, or did whatever that is, that
Right.
put that in. I don't know why or what it is. I thought maybe there'd eventually be a plaque
Right,
donated by, you
Yeah.
know, Mr. Smith or the Smith family,
right,
but,
Huh.
and maybe it will be, but I don't know.
okay.
It's
Well, that's
interesting.
The other path that we haven't addressed at all in this plan, because it came after the fact, was that big path now that goes all the way down to Mont Lane. It's on the sidewalk, it's a sidewalk basically, but I guess you can consider that a path because it's used and people walk on it all the time and run on it. Have you seen it goes right?
There's
next
actually
to-
hunting in that area.
There is hunting
In the
over in
woods,
that
yeah.
area.
I mean, that path,
It's
Wait a minute.
fairly.
Well, it's a
extensive.
sidewalk, right?
It's a sidewalk basically.
From Easton, pretty much to New
Yes.
Brunswick. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it goes up all the way.
I consider
Yeah.
that a path because you can get
You
off.
bicycle, I mean, I'm pretty sure you bicycle. See, the other thing is, and I'd love to be able to connect
oh, yeah.
bike paths with tie in like the DeMott Lane
Mhm.
to Middlebush.
Yeah, that would be great.
To the DNR, you go to the end of DeMott, you go across, you know, you go up to wherever and come back, but different marked routes for bicyclists, you know, can you do 25, is there a 25-mile loop, a 50-mile run, or ride, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we got all these
Right,
pots,
like JFK.
but there's no way,
Boulevard.
unless there's a way to tie them all together. And I think that would be the other thing, if, you know, if eventually you could tie the northern and southern down south Middlebush, if you could ever eventually tie those two, you know, that would be,
Right.
you know, but that's too much to ask for.
Well, I think
That's
they're,
a good point
I-
though.
Mark has been very big about, you know, trying to establish a north-south,
The
Mhm.
north-south trail.
route here. I know that we've had some discussion about it.
Well, I mean, it's funny, a lot of it is already public, it's, you know, we.
It's there, it's
It's
connecting,
there,
connecting
yeah,
everything.
but again, who's gonna do it, who's gonna maintain it, I mean,
Right.
you know, so, there's a lot of that, those are a lot of obstacles that would have to be overcome, but.
Well, I guess the other thing too is, I mean, we should have trails that are sort of cooperative. I mean, for example, you could go from the DNR Canal across the Colonial Park Bridge.
Right,
You could go all the way through Colonial Park to
but
Elizabeth
now,
Avenue.
but who knows it, see, that's.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the Colonial Park is county.
it's county, I
land.
know that.
But, you know,
And then
so,
DNR
but can we
is
cooperate with
state.
the county and have sort of like a joint?
And DNR,
yeah.
the state,
You know,
so, you know, you're dealing with a lot of governmental entities that, you know, tend to make things more complex.
well, you know, from the DNR Canal though, that bridge is ours, isn't it?
Mhm.
I mean, and
You're talking
actually,
about-
once you get to Elizabeth Avenue, you could go, there was discussion of having a trail that would go all the way to, Cedar Grove
Right.
Lane through this, Memorial Park
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
area there.
Right.
Is that the one up by, the gas station?
Yeah.
Yeah, the gas
Yeah.
station, you make a left and then
Yeah,
there's
I-
a driveway.
See, I've been able to run from,
okay.
and, cause there's an, I think it used to be a railroad line that ran
That's
through there
right.
at some
That's
point.
what it was.
That's it's coming to, discussions here on the,
Oh,
Yeah.
this.
But yeah, but then
Once a
you
while.
can, cause I was able to go from Cedar Grove to, Elizabeth Avenue. And it's a lot of it is semi-developed, I don't know if kids did it or bicycles, but, you know, there's a couple, the problem is that there's just like a couple 100-yard sections that make it not the best,
Right.
that would have to be addressed. But if you, when you come out on Elizabeth Avenue, there's the sign that say, you know, this is public you know, open space,
Right.
so.
That's a good point. Alright, so I have a lot of things now to draft up.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can always, as I go through, you can always give me more, but if you, so you can open this map all the way, it's funny, cause I looked at the date on this map, and it was March 14th of last year. So, that's the last time that we looked at the map itself, and you can see, this is where, so, who was not, so you weren't here for this, John, you weren't here either.
Tom, I think this
So
is
this will
something,
be good.
we always talk about some kind of like the railroad or something.
So
I'm not sure
basically, I
exactly
just-
this is it,
oh,
but-
You know,
Ask the
I
members
heard
to
about,
kinda look at this
I
map
had
with the
heard rumors
Sharpie
about that being.
and figure out
yeah.
where some potential
Because it
trails
talks about that
might
area,
be.
Yeah,
so.
The preserved
take a
farms
look,
are in
yeah,
the pinkish
it's-
Well, 'cause
color,
there's something, you know,
the
yeah,
preserved
well,
open spaces in
I've
the dark
gotten that.
green.
Yeah.
Can you send it? Well, I
That
guess
might be, that might
You
be
know,
on
John
the
was talking
website.
about
I've
that
got some
trail.
care.
Well,
That might be on the-
okay.
Actually, I guess it goes through Madden. Well, I don't know, there's this tree line
Goes out
right
to
here.
Canal Road, that's.
But we
Yeah, I
talked
think this
about that,
is
Mark
lease
is,
land
Mark
too.
is really,
Yeah, I knew you, and again,
Knows
I-
about that.
and I'm new,
No, 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 no.
but
Create
to
a
see
trail from here,
runners and bikers have the
through,
same need
That
and
little
desire.
piece is what he was
And
talking
this-
about.
this
yeah,
little
that's
piece
why I
is
said, if you could go for 5,
I-
10,
yeah, I just
15
wonder, is that
miles,
lease
have
land or-
those types of
The-
loops or runs, bike.
without crossing
So
main
the purpose of
arteries.
this map,
Well,
just so
even
you
if
know,
you have,
I
but
wanna
it-
give
but where
this to our
it-
mapping
it-
guy
it's
here in IT
80
and
or
have him
90%,
basically
you know,
draft it, so that we
okay.
can say, okay,
That's why I said I'm
these
always
are
looking
ideas
for
for
ways to,
potential
how do I get
trails,
to,
these
how do I
are
get to the high
ideas
school
for
from my
potential
house?
trail
with, you know,
connectors,
Mhm.
and it's gonna take
And
a
I
few
was able to do
iterations
it
to
by
get, so
phone,
feel
so
free to
yeah,
mark
but-
this up,
But you know, yeah.
and then
So
he'll
what
draft
is
it,
this
I'll
right
show
here?
it.
What's
And but I
this
think
right
that was,
here?
wasn't that?
This is,
supposed to be
is this township land or is
Is
that
that
privately
Terhune?
owned by
I
Terhune's?
don't remember.
This
Which one,
is-
the-
Let me see here.
Where-
The railroad track?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the
I thought
Terhune
there was
property.
something.
It's all Terhune
that-
property?
Yes, so
But-
we had asked C for this little
Anyway.
area up here, if we could just.
We all know little bits and
Go
I
pieces.
think
all
it
the way
was
to the
here,
center.
Well, that's what I said,
yeah.
but it, you know, like I
But-
said, look at all the green on
Not
that.
a
I mean,
no-go.
there's huge
So
amounts.
Yeah.
Terhune is the one
Yeah.
that didn't want that to be done.
Right.
Yeah.
The other area, remember I was
about it?
asking about the Hunter wanting to
How do
hunt
they say it's what,
in this part
like about a third of this township
here.
is
Mhm.
preserved
apparently
land.
we're restricted from
farmland,
doing it.
Well, they were supposed to put that
Well,
reservoir
John
years ago.
Yeah.
said that that's
And I-
a
and
historic
I've actually
thing, I think
been,
it was,
and
the original
I
problem was you
actually
didn't
talked
want
to
hunters
someone
crossing the
who
stream.
told me they
Right.
had
But the hunters say,
what the
Yeah.
artist
They don't have a
rendering
problem
of what
crossing
that was
the
supposed to look like. And I'm
There's gotta
dying
be
to
some
see
kind of reason, maybe there's not
what
enough
that-
distance
what it would
between
look, where it was
that
supposed
small
to go,
area
how
and the
big it was supposed
closest
to be.
residence.
Yeah.
Oh, Terhune's
Reservoir?
house is
Yeah,
right
why-
around
what-
here.
what did
it was
Isn't
look-
Terhune's
it-
house
well,
like over
a
here?
lot
His
of
house is on the other side of
It's on
Canal
the other
Road.
side, so
A
it
lot
should
of,
be.
what's the,
I think it was, I think the.
It's
we
down
were-
off Middlebush,
we were
on the left, if you're
John, I
going
think it
down
was
toward
just,
27, it's on the,
there are
on the left.
Thinking
You
about
can use
liability issues
those
with the
roads
stream
that
crossing,
they
but I
want
mean,
the houses.
Just draw an
are-
arrow here and
are-
say hunting, question
No.
mark.
Vacant,
Vacant,
abandoned,
Well,
abandoned.
no,
Yeah.
but they're all now, they've been boarded up, and that was all supposedly
I thought it
bought
was
by the
Madden, is
state.
this Madden here?
Or
this is the Madden property
condemned by
right
the
here.
state so they could get
Yeah.
And he's got a
And
road.
for
you
whatever
probably
reason
see
was
images
the
of it.
reservoir
It
never
goes just right
went
down
through,
here,
yeah.
was through. I know,
to the
I
border.
think,
He actually
I
parks
know
his
that, it
trucks
was around the same time they
Yeah.
made
right on the back of that
Valley
property
up
there.
in,
You can
up
see
in
him from the
Clinton,
trail.
but I don't, but this was
Right.
after some, I guess,
The
droughts,
idea
and
would
there
be
was a
to
big push
extend this, I
to
thought,
do this
out
stuff.
to
Now, I
Canal
think they
Road.
may,
Right.
may
That
also
way.
have
Either
something to do
Canal
with
Road
Cox
or
Island up
to-
in Delaware, which again
yeah,
is
Snam
another,
Road. The hunters want to know
Where
if
they
they park
bought all the
Well, see, now
property,
that
they
it's
closed everything, and they
like
never
hiking.
did
Oh, to
anything.
make a
Yeah.
hiking
Hiking
trail,
trail.
right.
It
But
has to
anyway,
be on
I
the
would
open space
love
side,
to-
because once the
to
property's
overlay
preserved,
that
we have to
map and-
condemn it in
to
order
see
to,
how,
we have to condemn
you
the
know,
portion we want
'cause
to
they-
trail on there. there.
I don't know how, I
And
don't,
that's like very,
it's
very
too
difficult.
flat.
So
I mean,
not that it
would
can't
have
be
to
done,
be
but it
a
would have to be
huge
done.
area have
It's this
any
little piece
volume.
right
That
here.
little piece,
We just
yeah.
need that little piece to
Yeah.
put a trail through.
They wouldn't dig it out,
What-
would
who
they?
owns
I
it?
That'd
don't
be
know,
phenomenal effort.
again, it's,
So that's-
I guess
you know,
Terhune
it's one of
owns
these things,
the
but
part
like I
that's,
said,
got
I still
trees on
have
it.
the
But
person
this
who
is
told me
land,
they had it.
this is farmland
And,
that's leased.
it's
The
like,
Terhune leases over
if
the
I ever
space.
see her again, I'll
Right.
probably say, hey, by the way, if you
And
ever
so
take
that,
that.
that was
just
an
need
Take a
option
peek.
Let me
in the
see
lease
it.
agreement,
Right.
you know, working it so that, you know, say, well, you have to let us put a trail along the edge here.
So it would basically connect this, and then you're saying go through here to canal.
Yeah.
do
Okay.
that.
Well, circle it there and say, and then draw, you know, and then I'll look at it more closely and see what, you know, what we can do. I gotta brace myself to, to
Right.
deal with
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I guess I was thinking, I think there's a wood line here as well. Could you
Go
go,
both directions.
could you, go out to the road this way?
Mhm. Yeah. Any idea, there's no bad idea, because basically, like I said, our GIS guy will put it on a map, and if it looks good, we'll keep it, if it looks bad, we'll just, you know, we'll keep doing it until we get it the way that we want it.
And any word on that Mettler's Road, that little connection on the, you know, again, where is, yeah, right here. This area, oh yeah, you have it here, right?
Mhm.
Because that's another, very narrow right here, but if you could put like a path for bikes, walking, again, you have all this, what's that, canal walk now, so.
Yep.
There's plenty
Yeah,
of-
that would be good,
Yeah.
that would be
I know
really
what you're
good.
talking about, yeah, but you have it
Yeah.
here with trails or something leading right to
Yeah.
Colonial Park.
My main concern is up in this area where I know, obviously, this is always our concern, where there's a lot of people, but not a lot of connection, I just don't know how to do it, you know, it seems sparse.
Well, maybe a bridge to the, canal.
Well, someone, see that black line there?
This thing?
That, yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
I think someone last time made that as a potential, so
Bike
we could
route.
follow
Yeah, there are bike
roadway.
routes.
Yeah.
Mark Fortin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go.
He said, I remember we did this, I remember we did this, remember.
So, yeah, so, I can definitely give it to our GIS guy, and we, like I said, if you see something new, we can identify it, and it's just a matter of trying to, you know, identify new connectors or all new trails altogether.
So this is an equestrian trail over here?
Yes, yeah.
So does that fall under our purview then?
Mhm.
Equestrian trail?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we really do too much different to it, it's just that you're allowed to have your horse there.
So you can't hike there, which it's strictly for horses?
No, you
No,
can,
no, you can hike there, yeah, 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 it
Yeah.
just includes
It
horses,
just
yeah.
includes.
Oh.
Watch your step.
That's,
Yeah.
what's your problem?
Give it right away.
Right?
Well, that's where the stables used to be where Middlebush was, cause when I was in the
Oh,
Lakewood
yeah.
townhomes, once or twice when we lived there, people would ride their horses down on the
Is
pipeline
anybody
and come out literally
responsible for this
in,
trail?
behind the Cedar Grove Center, and, you know, all of a sudden,
Vanessa,
they're in my
that's the,
backyard.
it's
I
all
went
part of
horseback
the,
riding there.
That's
you
Bunker
really?
Hill?
Bunker Hill.
This is
Yeah.
Bunker, Vanessa typically goes, is this where's Bunker Hill Road?
Right here.
There's Bunker Hill, yeah.
So here's the parking lot right here, but this is all part of Bunker Hill.
27.
This goes through a residential area, along the streets of a residential area, then it picks up again back in
So
here.
does Vanessa go here,
I've
do you
never
know,
been
or
down
There's a lot,
Vanessa, when she
She
like,
was on here,
I
right?
think she's mainly been
Yeah.
are
keeping
you
this
looking for
area,
a trail
but
to
it's
be in
actually,
charge of?
it's actually connected to.
Cause you can take this if you want. Well, I can't
never
say
been
actually,
there,
it's up to
so-
Jim, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
And what about
or
this
this.
one? Yeah. I've never seen that.
This is the John Clyde Trail, and John Clyde Memorial Trail right here
In Griggstown, right?
in
Mhm.
Griggstown, yeah. It's just a section in here, but it connects to all these other areas, and there's,
I just did that the other day.
did you?
Money.
Yeah. I was out at
Wow.
Negri in the Cedars over there, where Melwood.
I know.
Mm.
I took my son out to
I was
the,
going through about 3 or 4 inches of water and mud.
to the Franklin Park
It's a
Natural
messy
Area,
business.
and you know, he's a little boy, he's 9, so he gets distracted very easily, and I kept telling him, watch, and all of a sudden I just hear, mommy, I'm like, oh no, what now? I knew it couldn't have been anything bad, like a bear or anything, so I'm like, what now? And I look, his whole shoe just came right off. And,
Oh.
so he's standing there, like on one foot, no shoe on. I'm like, oh my. So I basically said, the shoe's a goner. Just pick it up, we'll throw it out. Like, it was
Suck those
complete.
shoes right off of you.
Yeah, for sure. Especially
As
that
long
deep.
as it's not quicksand.
I know.
Yeah.
I was just like, it figures.
Mess with.
You know? He was probably looking somewhere else, I don't know.
Yeah, and remind, what is the light green compared to the dark green?
Light
Light
green.
It's- oh, that's a,
Golf.
that's golf,
Kind of
okay.
bluish.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's like a golf course, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, quail.
I'm wondering, the other thing down
Ski
here,
book, okay, thank you.
the golf course is right here, this is the yellow trail, I think. It makes a loop, and you have to cross the stream. The golf course has a very nice bridge, just 50 feet from the trail.
I wonder what I was thinking about collecting all the golf balls that are in this stream, and get it going. Here, we found these for you.
Right.
Would you mind if our pikers would go across the bridge as opposed to across the stream down there?
Oh, right, yeah.
I've walked that, and it's like, I just, golf
Well-
balls, I just put in my pocket.
Yes.
But I use the bridge
You
anyway.
could get a
Who cares?
ton of golf balls in that stream.
I can
They all
imagine.
wash it down.
So
Is
that's
it
all our
open still,
problem?
or is it the
What's that?
Bunker Hill Golf Course, is that still open? Cause I thought it went bankrupt or something.
Oh, I don't know, I thought I saw some
I think
golf
they're
was out the
still
last
open.
time.
I think they're slowing down, but I think they're still open.
Okay.
And what about, see that trail over there, Anne Marie, right by Easton Ave? That's the kind of thing that I think would be cool if we could somehow connect that to something, but that's a stretch. I mean, what's the closest thing we can connect it to? That or this?
What is that?
Oh, that's the Demont Lane
That's
area.
the- oh,
to
Demont,
access the
okay.
canal.
Yeah, well, Demont,
In
that
fact-
connects to your canal, you just go
Yeah.
over the bridge
Right.
and,
Yeah, in
Yeah.
fact, do we own the dock that's propped up against the tree down there?
Wait, what's this
I
road here?
don't know.
That's
What's this road?
JFK.
So this is
I'm not
JFK.
sure
So-
about that.
So
This
what's
is
this?
Demont, this is
If
Demont,
we own
that's
it,
the
yeah,
Van
yeah,
Winkle
yeah.
house.
Put it back in the water. I mean, we put our kayaks in it.
I don't think so. I don't know if we own it, to be 100% honest with you, but if we don't own it, then DNR Canal Commission
Well,
probably
John,
owns it. I don't think they would.
John
own it
Luce
either.
was saying that, they just own the towpath. They don't own the,
yeah,
they don't own the township side of the canal at all. Maybe.
I don't know, like I said, I'm new.
I
Yeah.
think this is though, even if it's just a little
I'm old, I
connection,
still
I
don't
think
understand
somehow
all this
connecting
rule.
areas up here, we really gotta look, we gotta
Oh,
find a
no,
way.
I
That's,
didn't know there's a
something.
trail there, I mean, it's just, isn't that what the Van
Well,
Winkle house, that's where it is?
it's
just
actually
around
the
a
corner.
sort of a boardwalk that goes
Yeah,
across
there's,
the marsh
and I think there were some plant markers, and
Yeah.
this is a cattail.
But it's open
and,
though, and
stuff
people
like
can
that.
go
It's a nice
there. I just
habitat.
think like to your point, not everyone knows,
And,
like, hey, there's a trail
When you
here,
go down
and
Demont
it
Lane, you
connects to
just
something,
cross right
you
over
know?
to the
Just goes
property.
straight,
The little
goes straight to the
driveway.
traffic
I
light.
haven't been in there in a while.
So where is it that John wants to put the bridge?
Here,
Right by JFK.
Right here.
here's JFK. He wants to put the bridge here.
Yeah.
Here's the diner.
And the Eagle's Nest is right there.
But we haven't
Right
seen them the
across.
last couple of days, so I don't know, we don't put it in this. There may be a female sitting hunkered down on an egg or not, we don't know.
Oh.
But, it's a nice, it'd be a nice spot for the bridge,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Do you access, from here or from Landing Lane?
We go to Demont, I mean,
Okay.
Landon Lane it's a pain
It's
because
dangerous.
it's still.
Well, you gotta walk almost a quarter, good 500 yards from Johnson Park just to get up
Right.
over the.
Or you park right at
Well,
the
the-
parking lot
No,
on the other
it's-
side of the light there.
Yeah, well, yeah, I
You will
know.
die.
But, yeah,
Right, that's what the
You'll die
song
waiting
should
for
say,
someone to let you
yeah.
out.
yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, particularly if
Don't,
you,
yeah, don't have to back out.
we bicycle there, and you don't wanna take your bicycle
name
across
of
the
it?
still.
Oh, no,
It
no.
just,
Right.
Of that
it doesn't-
trail?
it doesn't
Let me
work.
see if I can
No,
find it.
no.
Where is that, right by King, Copper
We've seen a
Mine?
couple with a
It's
kid
between
and a
Copper
stroller.
Mine and.
They're
Oh, I've
going
Let me
there.
see if I can find
But
it.
Well,
then,
they-
I never knew
spillway,
that trail.
spillway used to be
So
a
I
whole
might
lot
check it
worse.
out.
The danger is getting across the road.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
I've never been on
spillway
that other
looks a whole
side
lot
of
better
it.
than,
Check
the
it. You been on
spillway
this
used to
trail?
be really
I have a
scary.
bit,
And people were bringing their little
So what
kids
is it?
in to
Do you
walk
know? I can
Where
look
do
up
you
on the
access
way.
it?
Well, many different places actually. You can park in the parking lot right here, and you can walk down the grassland part of the trail to the field. And go around to John Clyde. All of this is the grassland trail that goes across the field. If you go down farther, you'll pick up the trail down here. You get into the woods back down in here. You can walk all the way down here. This is the environmental center trail area
Right.
in there. Yeah, that's,
And you can
it's-
access from
it's-
Bunker Hill
and
Environmental
you can
Center.
park at the environmental center. You can, park at Bunker Hill. I've actually gone, I'm sorry, that's Butler Road, Bunker Hill Road, the parking lot here. I've actually gone this way. It takes you into, see this residential area there.
Right.
You actually come out between two houses at this point, and you gotta walk down the street, and there's a hidden soccer field down there. And then the trail picks up again on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And it's,
Oh, so
it
that's
owns
where
that
it breaks
field.
down, this
it
trail, right?
crosses, crosses the
nice.
creek right there and comes back
Right
up
there,
this
go, what
way.
the
So is that the brown trail that goes from Brickstown to Bunker Hill?
Probably, I
Okay,
think
so that's
so,
this brown
yeah.
trail,
Yeah,
and you really need like 2 maps to see it, but this is the view from Brickstown, I believe. Let me just make
So
sure.
Chuck, yeah, who owns that soccer field? Is that
The
like an
brown
association of the,
oh, these are
condos or
I don't
something
know
like
whether
that?
it's part of the
Blue, red.
property development,
that
you know,
cause I came out of the
Where
woods and all of a
trails
sudden it's like,
out.
holy jeez, there's a hill and there's like soccer
Yeah,
field
it's
on
not,
top.
I mean,
It's like-
I had to
And
sort of find out what the
then
marker,
it's
but
Bunker Hill, to
Yeah.
the
It,
other side of it.
I was using a GIS
Mhm.
app and,
And I think this is the other where it ends up over
it
here.
was fairly clear from that. But,
See, this is where it kinda connects, and then it goes into these trails over at the Bunker Hill side.
So
And at
it-
Bunker Hill,
it
the
starts-
brown.
You can get onto it from Canal Road here.
Mhm.
Oh, these are nice habitats in here, nice woodland habitats in here.
and,
Yeah.
I'd like to check that out.
Yeah. All right, so I will bring this, so I haven't brought it to the IT guy yet, but I'll bring it in this form, and then he can make a new one, and then we can look at it even better.
yeah.
And then, that's all I have in terms of pathways and trails for right now. The next meeting, I'll get all this together, and then we'll talk more.
Okay.
That's good, so we have our assets and our obstacles.
Abstracts and obstacles are done, I just gotta type it up and we'll have this map updated, and then we have the background done, so now the next chapter is design, like trail design, and then just
Do you want
some,
me- yeah, it'd be nice to have-
potential
Actually, I can help
projects.
with hard copies, yeah.
So that's easy enough.
Has this.
Very interesting.
Well, is there any other organization in town that we should be speaking to? I know we're talking about bike paths and energy savings. At what point do we bring, for instance, the Hamilton Street or Association or the Chamber of Commerce to get their feedback or input? I mean, we're talking about Rutgers students now coming further and further up on Hamilton. At what point do we engage them? Or is that under our purview, or maybe it's not, maybe it should be, or maybe it's, I'm just thinking, I know that we do have the caveat of recreation on this.
Yeah.
I mean, they've put the electric charging station here
Yeah.
so, I mean, I don't know, I'm just putting this out as a,
It's a good point, I mean, a
Good
lot of
point, yeah.
times, when you redo a plan, there's like a little road show that goes along with it, so yeah, we could definitely present it at, we could see
or,
if, or
get-
invite
I
people
guess,
to the meeting.
get their input, what their needs are. I mean, for
Yeah.
example, is a bike path needed to go from Hamilton down to New Brunswick? You know, as just an extreme example, but is that something that
But
other
we've
peop-
talked about something about that, getting back
Right.
that way,
Well,
so that's not
yeah.
too far-fetched.
Yeah, well, and again, tying it into the train station. I know they have bike racks at the train
They
station.
do, they do.
So, you know, again, trying to put all the pieces together to get maximum use of,
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe once we have a map more in like a more complete order, we
Oh,
can
no,
go,
I-
or maybe one of you guys or me or somebody could go to like the Hamilton Street meeting, cause I think they meet once a month too, the Hamilton,
Actually, I think their
Development Committee or
meeting is
whatever.
posted on Townships.
So that, yeah, but that is a good point.
I'm just
I
trying,
agree.
I would hate to put all this in and then someone say, oh, if you'd only done
Yeah.
this little bit extra, it would have opened all these other avenues up.
Yeah.
Oh, we just didn't know.
That's
No,
why
I
we
think
had to
that's
check, I mean, that's why Mark added that with the check mark, if you're developing something.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe, let's be aware of it and see what maybe we
Well,
can
and
contribute.
you've seen
yeah.
what they're building up on Hamilton, they're putting the ground floor as commercial, and they're putting rental or condo, whatever they are, on top, so, I mean, that seems to be.
The high rises, in essence,
Yeah.
I mean,
The New Brunswick model.
it's tough, I bring my son home from that,
Mhm.
Hamilton Street, and then it's tough for cars, I mean, coming out those side streets now.
And my understanding
Oh,
is that
that's
Rutgers is still short housing for students.
And it's also for the hospital too, so,
Well,
so,
true,
so there's
true.
gotta be
Yeah.
some coordination with maybe Robert
Right,
Wood and those
absolutely.
people to
Absolutely.
do some stuff,
Rutgers is behind some of that development, is that what you're saying?
I'm not behind it, but I believe because there's such a demand for housing for students,
It's one of
that,
the impetus.
I mean, I know
They're
Rutgers,
promoting it.
Rutgers used to have a clearinghouse for if you were an owner
Right,
and you had a multifamily,
yeah,
they were your realtor. I mean, they would
Right.
post it and kids would, I mean, there was a time in the spring when leases were coming up and
Yeah.
if you found a place, you didn't have more than a few hours.
I
to-
remember that, you're right, that is true, I mean, it was like a mad dash
Yeah.
for housing, like you had to sign it on the
Yeah,
spot.
and I know when my daughter was doing it, my daughter's calling me saying, we have to do this now because there's like a 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 4 o'clock all coming in after us. If we don't sign now, one of these other groups is gonna
Right.
get this.
right.
Yeah, it's very true, that is true.
and if you just look at all the new construction in New Brunswick, I mean, they're tearing down houses
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and now they are going up,
Yeah,
and they're all for Rutgers students. And it's funny because now the ground floor is a parking garage.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then you have the apartments, so that's a big thing too, parking, you know?
yeah.
Parking garage, mini mall.
Yeah, parking, yeah,
Yeah.
cause it's like, okay, no parking.
We
It's like
should
you
meet
look
with
at
Rutgers,
what's the
I agree
garage.
with your point, because even if you have a car, no one really wants to have a
No.
car there, cause there's nowhere to put it, and if you do
Correct.
have it somewhere, they charge you so much money for the permit. So it would be good to kinda get their feedback and see, maybe we can maximize, if we can get some funding for these bike placements, that would be really cool.
Yeah, well, like I said, I know that the biking aspect is becoming more and more popular and prevalent, you
Yeah.
know, and I know, well, it's passed me by, but I know the kids that I work with who are in their late 20s, early 30s, they're very content to give up their car. I don't know how you could give up your car, but they're very,
Yeah.
but now we also have Uber and
Right,
Lyft and all
that's
that.
what they do.
If you need a ride, you just get on your app and you have
Oh.
a guy there in 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, well, especially cause where they wanna live more in New Brunswick,
True.
Somerville,
Yeah.
Hoboken, all these places, so it's like having a car is almost more of a pain than it's worth.
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
they need one, it was a zip card.
Yeah.
On the weekend, if they're going
Right.
away we're going to Vermont for the weekend, we got a zip card. First time I remember,
Yeah.
what's a zip card?
Yeah.
It is,
You mean zip
yeah.
code, right?
Right.
Oh, zip car, huh?
Yeah,
I know.
I hear that. So, okay, so you wanna, are we good for that?
Reports from
Where
other
we're at?
committees, next thing, anything, open space, I mean, we just had the last meeting, so we kinda know what's going on, but, oh, you'll have a meeting next Tuesday, so,
Yeah,
yeah, nothing since the last meeting, so,
Right.
good, alright, anything else?
we're glad you're here because we've been wanting to have right, we've been wanting to have
Wanted
an
a
OSAC
liaison.
representative
Jack is
for a
still
while.
MIA. so-
Jack, what was his last name? I never met him,
Jack
ever.
Connolly.
I never
He
met
would
him.
show up once in a while to
Okay,
OSAC.
And it'd be funny, because every time we'd say, okay, reports from other committees, and he'd say, nothing, you know, nothing happened, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, why were we sitting here
yeah.
talking when no one ever got reported what was going on?
Yeah, yeah.
We have, OSAC coming up. The only other report that I can say is, from the ag perspective and OSAC, we met with DEP, me, Bob Bornlocker, Bob Puskas. We met with, the people from 6 Mile Run, NJDEP 6 Mile Run, to talk about hunting perspectives in 6 Mile Run. And so it's in the very early stages, but we're trying to see if they'll open up even a little bit of it
Mhm.
to allow us to do some hunting in there, because really, I mean, the hunting is a real issue, so, but we have no control over 6 Mile Run, that's totally
I
them.
thought there's open hunting in 6 Mile Run.
No, well, there is, but not, and there's a very small amount, we need more space, cause apparently the biggest problem with hunting is not having enough land to hunt. So we did meet with them, we went to DEP, they had everyone there that you could possibly think of. There was someone from historic and cultural heritage and,
Wow.
fish and game and all this, so it was, but they said they're looking into opening up some more pieces, so hopefully that'll work out, you know, so. But they're in the same position, cause they're trying to balance, there's a lot of biking that goes on,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so they're trying to balance.
Yeah, it seems like I would always see people, you know, you gotta, just right past Snyder's Farm,
Mhm.
there's an opening on the right in Middle Bush Road.
Mhm.
There are always hunters parked there. And it's like they were going into that stretch of cedars back there.
Yeah,
But, and I thought they were just went all over 6 Mile Run. And then it just, but the state actually restricts
they
hunting
do,
in there.
they restrict, and right now it's all bow only in there, no
Yeah.
firearm.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see, and we'll keep an eye out, well, you know, we keep trying to work with them nicely and see how it goes, so.
Does your hunting report include bow?
It does, yeah. So I'll let you know, I checked the mailbox today, there's maybe 20 in there, so they're starting to come in.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
let you know.
seen them, so.
All right, if there's nothing else, anyone wanna make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,